Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, and welcome aboard the USS Colorado, lead ship of a class in its 1942 configuration, and the BB-45 sits at rank 6, battle rating 7.0 in the US tech tree, and it comes after the USS Arizona. And the USS Colorado first impressions video, which you're just watching right now, well, you know, it could have ended like so many other US BB reviews or first impressions, because it has 40-second reloads and it has 8 guns, giving it the worst DPM in the game. But through some changes, both on the ship and also with the game, it's not that problematic. It's still a problem if you're used to a lot of shells in the air, but I can manage it to a certain extent. It's not my favorite ship to play, but it's usable, and that has to do with, amongst other things, the USS Colorado's 4 twin 406mm-45s, and they are mighty, and they have de facto the highest penetration in the game at range so far, and that is quite something, even dwarfing the Nagato class and therefore the Mutsu, which we have in the game, but not by that much. Okay, first things first, she's really wide. She has an anti-torpedo protection system of 250 kilograms worth of yield reduction. She's relatively slow with 38 kilometers per hour. She has catapult fighter and radar, but the AA is not really to what you are used to from US World War II BBs, because we have 5-inch 25s and 1.1-inch guns, together with some 20mm. We are missing the 5-inch 38s and their rate of fire and their number of barrels, as well as the 40mm in exchange for the 28mm 1.1-inch guns. Then we come to the armor, and it's really thick with 343mm, both for the main belt and also the bulkheads. She has an all or nothing armor scheme, or almost. The deck is 120mm over the magazines, and over the machinery 95mm. The barbettes are 330mm all around, and the turret faces are a whopping 457mm with a constructional angle slope of 44 degrees. They are effectively untouchable unless you hit directly the gun barrels. And internally, well, she doesn't have a turtle back, but a splinter deck of 25mm, and that helps somewhat mitigate the damage. The magazines are just below the waterline, but still absolutely hittable, especially at range, and so you have to angle the ship quite drastically, and so you have to play around with the turret angles from the rear turrets if you're angling forward, or the other way around. But due to it being twin turrets, it's actually doable, although the turret rotation speed is rather slow. But the ship is also not a perfect box when it comes to the armor, but around the magazines there is a notable curve, so you angle not as efficiently as you could in theory. So the armor is thick, but it needs to be angled. There is no turtle back. The deck plating is really strong, and so you stay alive for quite a while. The problem is that it seems like there are still some ready racks or shells in the turret barbettes, which can be hit, and then you lose ammunition, and that is not nice. So let's talk about the shells. Finally, your stock round is the 406mm Mark 13 HC. HC stands for high capacity, and indeed it has, with 68.28 kilograms of TNT equivalent bursting charge, quite the boom, resulting in 74mm of high explosive fragmentation penetration capability. And yeah, it has some additional high kinetic penetration of up to 103 millimeters at 0 degrees angles of attack at 1,000 meters. And that actually can hurt light cruisers and even some battleships quite badly. I think HE has been improved in terms of flooding mechanic, as well as that the accuracy seems to be remarkable with those guns. They're really remarkable. So if you have good aim, unlike me, you actually get stuff done. Then as a tier 1 upgrade, you get the 406mm Mark III APCBC round with nearly 26 kilograms of TNT, just shy of 700 millimeters of penetration at 1,000 meters, and at 10 kilometers 483 millimeter. Not bad, not bad. But as a tier 2 upgrade, you get the 406mm Mark V APCBC round. The TNT yield drops to just shy of 15 kilograms. The muzzle velocity is 768 meters per second, so it's not the fastest out there. But now we have at 1,000 meters 756 millimeters of penetration, which actually is less than the Mutsu's 1922. I think it's the AP number 5. And at 10 kilometers, then it changes due to a few kilograms more and a few kilograms less of TNT equivalent. So at 10 kilometers, we're looking at 556 millimeters of penetration, and that actually then is more than the Mutsu's AP, but just by 12 millimeters, but nonetheless it's more. And yeah, that is so much stronger at range by roughly 60 millimeters, 63 millimeters compared to the Mississippi's 14-inch -50 AP, which has at 10 kilometers 493 millimeters. But you have 12 barrels for 40 seconds reload. So yeah, that means that this ship has not the best AA, but at least you see the planes coming. You don't have the best secondaries, but you have at least some where you can treat some destroyers with time. You have abysmal DPM and abysmal number of shells per salvo, but at least you're going to hit, penetrate, and severely damage what you're shooting at. And you know, when that works, I can try to adapt to it. Again, it's not really meta friendly, but so far it works. The armor was so far not really contested, nor by shells nor by torpedoes. Although, you know, if somebody gets really close, even a 12-inch US battleship can kill me, as you saw, I think, at the start, where I included a scene. And yeah, in comparison, it looks really well protected. It has killer guns with deadly accuracy. So I think this ship is better than I expected it to be. It's not my favorite. It's not an automatic press button to win ship, but it got the job done. And if you look at the concept of the US standards, I kind of get behind it, right? I still think that it's absolutely ridiculous to have at the same battle rating, you know, the Japanese battleships with 16.1-inch guns, the Mutsu, but also the battlecruiser, the Amagi, which have with a higher caliber a shorter reload of 24 seconds. That is just absolute mean. So the Amagi has almost twice the DPM. And, you know, if you have twice the DPM with almost the same penetration power, I don't think that just the slightly better pen makes up for it. But still, this is a heavy hitter that must be taken care of if you see one on the enemy team. If an enemy ship or an enemy US standard, especially here the USS Colorado, makes the mistake of not angling in time, you need to punish the ship before it angles and before it aims at you. You have a few seconds time, use that. And so with this surprisingly good first impressions, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. For a change, relatively positive. I hope you enjoyed this patch so far. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as usual, we will see each other on the battlefields, in the skies, and on the waves of War Thunder.